Until now, the types of loops that we've been creating have been using the times method, such as the one in front of us, as you could see on line 2, 7.timesDo. However, there are alternative loop structures available in Ruby as well, and I would like to introduce you to another one now, known as the while loop. Let's first walk through this times loop that we have in front of us. On line 1, we create a number variable that stores the number 1. We then begin a loop that is to happen 7 times on line 2. On line 3, we print the value of whatever is stored in the number variable. And then on line 4, we effectively increase number by 1. And then when we hit the end keyword on line 5, we bump back up to line 2 and repeat the loop 6 more times. Effectively, when we run this code, we end up getting 1 through 7 printed on the terminal. I would now like to recreate this loop using the while structure. I will leave the code above for reference, but let's start anew. So number equals 1, and now I will create the while loop. This is what it looks like. While number is less than 8, we do the same lines of puts number and number equals number plus 1, and then end. Let's run this code and see what happens. Well, we get 1 through 7 because of the first loop on lines 2 through 5, and then we get 1 through 7 again from lines 8 through 11. Let's explain the while loop in depth. Again, on line 7, we establish a number variable that holds the number 1. On line 8, we are creating a loop that will run while number is less than 8, meaning this loop will run theoretically indefinitely as long as the value of the number variable is less than 8. Now, the reason why this loop doesn't go on forever is because within the loop, we increase number until it eventually does hit 8. Let's go through this one line at a time more formally. On line 7, we create a variable called number and have it hold the number 1. Let's keep track in our minds of what number is. So right now number is 1. We then encounter the while loop on line 8. While number is less than 8. Now number is 1, so it is indeed less than 8. So we run the contents of the loop, which is lines 9 and 10. When we get to line 10, number then gets increased to 2. We then hit line 11, which bumps us back up to line 8. We then say while number is less than 8, since number is 2, it is less than 8. So once again, we proceed with lines 9 and 10. Line 10 increases number by 1, so now number is 3. We then hit line 11. The end keyword bumps us back up to line 8 to run the while loop again. So we do this, so on and so forth, until eventually number is going to be 4, 5, 6, 7. On the 7th round of this loop, on line 8, we say while number is less than 8. Since number is 7, it is indeed less than 8, so we run lines 9 and 10. Line 9 prints 7 to the terminal, and then line 10 increases number to 8. 11 bumps us back up to line 8. We then say while number is less than 8. Now, since number is actually 8, it is not less than 8, so we do not run the loop anymore, and we jump down to below line 11 and proceed with whatever code is to follow. If you think about it, a while loop is sort of like a conditional and a loop mixed together, because it is indeed a loop, but the loop runs only assuming a particular condition is met. In this case, the loop will run indefinitely as long as the value of the variable number is less than 8. Now, there's a danger to using a while loop, and that is what would happen if I did not have line 4. Make a prediction, and what do you think will happen if I run this code? If I run this code, it is going to print 1 forever. As I speak, this loop is continuing to run. Again, on line 1, we establish the number variable that holds the number 1. On line 2, we say while number is less than 8. Since number is less than 8 because it's 1, on line 3, we print that number, in this case 1, to the screen. We hit line 4, which bumps us back up to line 2. And again, we say while number is less than 8. It's still less than 8 because it's 1. And so on and so forth. If we never have a way of increasing number within our loop, number will always remain 1, and this loop will run forever. This is what we call an infinite loop because it runs until infinity. Now, even though this while loop has that particular danger, the while loop has a little more flexibility in some cases than a times loop. A times loop only runs for a strict number of times. It runs for as many times as you dictate. A while loop can run in a more flexible way. If the condition is one way, the loop may run, but if the conditions change, the loop may stop. In a future lesson, I will show you how we can leverage the flexibility of a while loop to our advantage.